Okay, now we continue with the Samyutta Nikaya Suttas, and we are on the third chapter, Kosala-samyutta. We've come to 3.10. Now, on that occasion, a great mass of people had been put in bondage by King Pasenadi of Kosala, some with ropes, some with clogs, some with chains. Then in the morning, a number of monks dressed and said to the Blessed One, "Dear Venerable Sir, a great mass of people have been put in bondage by King Pasenadi of Kosala, some with ropes, some with clogs, some with chains." Then the Blessed One, having understood the meaning of this, on that occasion recited these verses. "That bond, the wise say, is not strong, made of iron, wood or rope, but infatuation with jewelry and earrings, anxious concern for wives and children. This, the wise say, is the strong bond, degrading, supple, hard to escape. But even this they cut and wander forth, unconcerned, having abandoned sensual pleasures." That's the end of the sutta. So here, the Buddha is saying that if you are tied up with chains of iron or wood or rope, that is not a strong chain. The strongest chain is infatuation with our property, infatuation with the family. Family ties are extremely strong. That's why it's very difficult for a person to renounce and become a monk. And even many, after renouncing wearing the robes, they still go back to lay life because they cannot cut off that craving, that attachment to family and sensual pleasures. 3.11. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Savatthi in the eastern park, in the mansion of Nigara's mother. Stop here for a while. Nigara's mother refers to this Visakha's father-in-law, because Visakha married into this family that were not Buddhists, and Visakha was a follower of the Buddha. So he helped to convert the father-in-law to become a devoted Buddhist. So the father-in-law was so grateful to her, the daughter-in-law, that the father-in-law called Visakha mother. So they referred to this man as Mikara's, and they referred to this Visakha as Mikara's mother. Now on that occasion in the evening, the Blessed One had emerged from seclusion and was sitting by the outer gateway. Then King Pasenadi of Kosala approached the Blessed One, paid homage to him, and sat down to one side. Now on that occasion, 7 jatilas, 7 nigantas, 7 naked ascetics, 7 one-robed ascetics, and 7 wanderers with hairy armpits, long fingernails, and long body hairs, carrying their bundles of requisites, passed by not far from the Blessed One. Then King Pasenadi of Kosala rose from his seat, arranged his upper robe over one shoulder, knelt down with his right knee on the ground, and raising his joint hands in reverential salutation towards the 7 jatilas, 7 nigantas, 7 naked ascetics, 7 one-robed ascetics, and 7 wanderers, he announced his name 3 times. "I am the king, Venerable Sirs, Pasenadi of Kosala. I am the king, Venerable Sirs, Pasenadi of Kosala. I am the king, Venerable Sirs, Pasenadi of Kosala." Let's stop here for a while. You see this King Pasenadi, when he saw all these ascetics go by, he paid respect to them. These are the different classes of ascetics. And some of them, you see, they have hairy armpits, some with long fingernails, some with long body hairs, etc. Then not long after those Jatilas, etc. had departed, King Pasenadi of Kosala approached the Blessed One, paid homage to him, sat down to one side and said to the Blessed One, "Those, Venerable Sir, are to be included among the men in the world who are Arahants or who have entered upon the path to Arahantship." And the Buddha said, "Great King, being a layman who enjoys sensual pleasures, dwelling in a home crowded with children, enjoying the use of Kasian sandalwood, wearing garlands, scents and unguents, receiving gold and silver, it is difficult for you to know these are Arahants or these have entered upon the path to Arahantship." Stop here for a while. Here the Buddha is saying, a lay person who dwells in the home, enjoying all these worldly pleasures. This Kasian sandalwood is sandalwood from Kasi, famous city. So the Buddha said, it's difficult for you to know who are the holy men, because this king assumed that all these ascetics, they look so ascetic. The king assumed that they were Arahants or holy men. Then the Buddha said, "It is by living together with someone, great king, that his virtue is to be known, and that after a long time, not after a short time, by one who is attentive, not by one who is inattentive, by one who is wise, not by a dullard or a fool. It is by dealing with someone, great king, that his honesty is to be known, and that after a long time, not after a short time, by one who is attentive, not by one who is inattentive, by one who is wise, not by a dullard. It is in adversities, great king, that a person's fortitude is to be known, and that after a long time, not after a short time, by one who is attentive, not by one who is inattentive, by one who is wise, not a dullard. It is by discussion with someone, great king, that his wisdom is to be known, and that after a long time, not after a short time, by one who is attentive, not by one who is inattentive, by one who is wise, not by a dullard." And the king said, "It is wonderful, Venerable Sir, it is amazing, Venerable Sir, how well this has been stated by the Blessed One. Great king, being a layman who enjoys sensual pleasures, dwelling in a home crowded with children, enjoying the use of Kasian sandalwood, etc., it is difficult for you to know these are Arahants, or these have entered upon the path to Arahantship, and etc. And how to know a person, it takes time, and you have to be very attentive, and you have to be wise. And then the king continued, "These, Venerable Sir, are my spies, undercover agents, coming back after spying out the country. First, information is gathered by them, and afterwards I will make them disclose it. Now, Venerable Sir, when they have washed off the dust and dirt, and are freshly bathed and groomed, with their hair and beards trimmed, clad in white garments, they will enjoy themselves supplied and endowed with the 5 cords of sensual pleasure." Then the Blessed One, having understood the meaning of this, on that occasion recited these verses. "A man is not easily known by outward form, nor should one trust a quick appraisal, for in the guise of the well-controlled, uncontrolled men move in this world, like a counterfeit earring made of clay, like a bronze halfpence coated with gold. Some move about in disguise, inwardly impure, outwardly beautiful." That's the end of the sutta. So the Buddha is saying, you want to know a person, it takes a long time. You have to associate closely with that person, either live with him or associate much with him. And then you have to be very attentive. And you have also got to be a very wise person to judge another person. So to know a person's heart is not so easy. A lot of people like to make quick judgments after a quick look at a person. This person is so mindful, this person is so impressive and all that. Outwardly he may show like that, but inwardly he may not be. So that's why the king agreed. The king says, I have spies. I have a lot of spies. They go and find out information for me. So they pretend to be ordinary citizens. Actually, they come back. They report everything to the king. And then those people who say things against the king will get into problems. So you see, it's hard to know a person. It takes time. So it's not wise to judge a person, especially a person on the spiritual path. It's very foolish for some lay people to judge certain monks and pass nasty remarks. Because some of the nasty remarks that are passed about monks, they get circulated very fast. 3.12, that's Savatthi. Now on that occasion, 5 kings, headed by King Pasenadi, were enjoying themselves, supplied and endowed with the 5 cords of sensual pleasure. And this conversation arose among them. What is the chief of sensual pleasures? Some among them said, forms are the chief of sensual pleasures. Some said, sounds are the chief. Some odors are the chief. Some tastes are the chief. Some tactile objects are the chief. Let's stop here for a moment. These 5 cords of sensual pleasure are forms, beautiful forms, like men like to see beautiful women like to see handsome men. And sounds, a lot of people like to enjoy music. And odors, nice perfumes, flowers and all that. And some people are caught by taste, can't resist good food. And some tactile objects, touch, including sex and all that. Since those kings were unable to convince one another, King Pasenadi of Kosala said to them, "Come, dear sirs, let us approach the Blessed One and question him about this matter. As the Blessed One answers us, so we should remember it." "All right, dear sir," those kings replied. Then those 5 kings, headed by King Pasenadi, approached the Blessed One, paid homage to him and sat down to one side. King Pasenadi then reported their entire discussion to the Blessed One, asking, "What now, Venerable Sir, is the chief of sensual pleasures?" And the Buddha said, "Great King, Maharaja, I say that what is chief among the 5 cords of sensual pleasure is determined by whatever is most agreeable. Those same forms that are agreeable to one person, Great King, are disagreeable to another. When one is pleased and completely satisfied with certain forms, then one does not yearn for any other form higher or more sublime than those forms. For him, those forms are then supreme. For him, those forms are unsurpassed. Similarly with sounds, odors, tastes, and tactile objects. When one is pleased and completely satisfied with certain tactile objects, then one does not yearn for others. Now on that occasion, the lay follower, Chanda Nangalika, was sitting in that assembly. Then the lay follower, Chanda Nangalika, arose from his seat, arranged his upper robe over one shoulder, and raising his joined hands in reverential salutation towards the Blessed One, said to him, "An inspiration has come to me, Blessed One. An inspiration has come to me, Fortunate One." And the Buddha said, "Then express your inspiration, Chanda Nangalika." Then the lay follower Chanda Nangalika, in the presence of the Blessed One, extolled him and praised him with an appropriate verse. As the fragrant red lotus, Kokanada, blooms in the morning, its fragrance unspent, behold Angirasa, the radiant one, like the sun beaming in the sky. Then those 5 kings bestowed 5 upper robes upon the lay follower Chanda Nangalika. But the lay follower Chanda Nangalika bestowed those 5 upper robes upon the Blessed One. That's the end of the sutta. So here the kings are asking, what is the best of the sensual pleasures? And the Buddha said, it is difficult to say in the sense that different people have different tastes. For example, forms. Some people think certain woman is the prettiest in the world. Another guy may not think so. But if that person is satisfied with that particular form, then for him that's the best. He doesn't look for any other. Similarly with sounds, odors, taste and touch. Then this Chanda Nangalika praised the Buddha. The Buddha is sometimes called Angirasa, the kinsman of the sun. So because the Buddha is an enlightened person, he's often in deep meditation. So if you look at the Buddha, often he will be like looking quite bright. So when this layman praised the Buddha, and the king agreed, the 5 kings agreed, and they presented their upper robe, all of them to this layman. And this layman took all the robes and presented it to the Buddha. 3.13 at Savatthi. Now on that occasion, King Pasenadi of Kosala had eaten a bucket measure of rice and curries. Then while still full, huffing and puffing, the king approached the Blessed One, paid homage to him and sat down to one side. Then the Blessed One, having understood that King Pasenadi was full and was huffing and puffing, on that occasion recited this verse: when a man is always mindful, knowing moderation in the food he eats, his ailments then diminish. He ages slowly, guarding his life. On that occasion, the Brahmin youth Sudarsana was standing behind King Pasenadi of Kosala. The king then addressed him thus: "Come now, dear Sudarsana, learn this verse from the Blessed One, and recite it to me whenever I am taking my meal. I will then present you daily with 100 kahapanas as a perpetual grant." Let's stop here for a moment. This here it says the Brahmin youth Sudarsana, but in the earlier translation by the Pali Text Society, they refer to him as the Prince Sudarsana. And I think according to the commentaries, this young man Sudarsana was a nephew of the King Pasenadi. So King Pasenadi, he has been enjoying his food so much, he must have been round and fat. So he asked this young man to remind him each time he takes his food not to eat so much. He said he will give him 100 kahapanas. A kahapana is a measure of money, just like now US dollar or ringgit or something. Yes, Sire, the Brahmin youth Sudarsana replied, having learned this verse from the Blessed One, whenever King Pasenadi was taking his meal, the Brahmin youth recited, when a man is always mindful, knowing moderation in the food he eats, his ailments then diminish. He ages slowly, guarding his life. Then King Pasenadi of Kosala gradually reduced his intake of food to at most a pint pot measure of boiled rice. At a later time, when his body had become quite slim, King Pasenadi of Kosala stroked his limbs with his hand, and on that occasion uttered this inspired utterance: the Blessed One showed compassion towards me in regard to both kinds of good, the good pertaining to the present life and that pertaining to the future life. That's the end of the sutta. So here you see the Buddha is called the greatest doctor, greatest physician in the world, both for our mental sickness and also for our physical. So here the Buddha advised him, if you eat a lot, then you will have more sickness, and then you will age faster. So if you want to live long, don't eat so much. It is exactly what doctors are saying nowadays. If you read health books, they say if you are slim, you are just like either the normal weight or slightly underweight, then you will live to a ripe old age. I have one devotee in Penang, now I think 95 years old, who's very thin, but because she's light now, she can move about. When we are fat now, it's very difficult to move about. And for example, when you're going up the hill now, we go and service clean our water reservoir up the hill. It's a 1 hour climb up the hill. So I also notice if I'm slightly, the weight is slightly more, it's more tiring. But nowadays I'm slimmer, I can walk faster, can carry weight, can carry the bag. So the king, Pasenadi, was very grateful to the Buddha. You see, the Buddha benefits him this lifetime and also future lifetimes. 3.16 at Savatthi. Then King Pasenadi of Kosala approached the Blessed One, paid homage to him and sat down to one side. Then a certain man approached King Pasenadi and informed him in a whisper, "Sire, Queen Malika has given birth to a daughter." When this was said, King Pasenadi was displeased. Then the Blessed One, having understood that King Pasenadi was displeased, on that occasion recited these verses. "A woman, O Lord of the people, Raja, may turn out better than a man. She may be wise and virtuous, a devoted wife, revering her mother-in-law. The son to whom she gives birth may become a hero, O Lord of the land. The son of such a blessed woman may even rule the realm." That's the end of the sutta. So, in the olden days, men always like to have sons instead of daughters. So when Queen Malika gave birth to a daughter, the king was not too happy. Then Buddha made him understand that sometimes a woman may turn out better than a man if she is wise and virtuous, etc. 3.17 At Savatthi, sitting to one side, King Pasenadi of Kosala said to the Blessed One, "Is there, Venerable Sir, one thing which secures both kinds of good, the good pertaining to the present life and that pertaining to the future life?" And the Buddha said, "There is one thing, great king, which secures both kinds of good, the good pertaining to the present life and that pertaining to the future life. But what, Venerable Sir, is that one thing? Diligence, great king. Just as the footprints of all living beings that walk fit into the footprint of the elephant, and the elephant's footprint is declared to be their chief by reason of its size, so diligence is the one thing which secures both kinds of good, the good pertaining to the present life and that pertaining to the future life. For one who desires long life and health, beauty, heaven and noble birth, a variety of lofty delights, falling in succession, the wise praise diligence in doing deeds of merit. The wise person who is diligent secures both kinds of good, the good visible in this very life and the good of the future life. The steadfast one, by attaining the good, is called a person of wisdom. So here the Buddha is giving very good advice that there is one thing that is very important for all of us, diligence, energetic effort. Whatever we want, we have to make energetic effort, diligent to work towards it. So for example, if a person wants to be rich, wealthy in this life, he has to work very hard. And then it's one of the most important factors. And then if you want to attain spiritual success, also you have to work very hard. In some of the suttas, the Buddha mentions about those monks who are diligent to attain the deathless. They try not to sleep at night. When people are fast asleep, they are working very hard, trying to maintain the practice. So diligence is very, very important. A lot of us, we are overcome by laziness, by sloth and torpor. And this is more so if we are fat. If you eat a lot, every time after a heavy meal, we tend to be drowsy. So some people have a bad habit. Immediately after the meal, they go and sleep. And in the Dhammapada verses, the Buddha likened that person to a pig. Pig, after eating a lot, will roll in the mud and go and sleep. 3.18 At Savatthi, sitting to one side, King Pasenadi of Kosala said to the Blessed One, "Here, Venerable Sir, while I was alone in seclusion, the following reflection arose in my mind. The Dhamma has been well expounded by the Blessed One, and that is for one with good friends, good companions, good comrades, not for one with bad friends, bad companions, bad comrades." And the Buddha said, "So it is, great king, so it is, great king. The Dhamma has been well expounded by me, and that is for one with good friends, good companions, good comrades, not for one with bad friends, bad companions, bad comrades. On one occasion, great king, I was living among the Sakyans, where there is a town of the Sakyans named Nagaraka. Then the monk Ananda approached me, paid homage to me, sat down to one side and said, "Venerable Sir, this is half of the holy life, that is, good friendship, good companionship, good comradeship." And this was said, "Great King," I told the monk Ananda, "not so Ananda, not so Ananda. This is the entire holy life Ananda, that is, good friendship, good companionship, good comradeship. When a monk has a good friend, a good companion, a good comrade, it is to be expected that he will develop and cultivate the Noble Eightfold Path. And how, Ananda, does a monk who has a good friend, good companion, a good comrade, develop and cultivate the Noble Eightfold Path? Here, Ananda, a monk develops right view, which is based upon seclusion, dispassion and cessation, maturing in release. He develops right intention or right thoughts, then right speech, then right action, right livelihood, right effort, right recollection, right concentration, which is based upon seclusion, dispassion and cessation, maturing in release. It is in this way, Ananda, that a monk who has a good friend, a good companion, a good comrade, develops and cultivates the Noble Eightfold Path. Let's stop here for a moment. Here, the Buddha is confirming that good companions are very important. The Buddha says that our friends influence us a lot. If you mix with evil friends, you will tend to follow them and practice evil habits like drinking and womanizing and gambling and all that. But if you mix with good friends, then they will bring you to a good destination. So the Buddha also said that we live an ordinary life, and we are following the path that most people will go to, which is rebirth in the woeful plains. But we need effort to go against the stream of our tendencies. If we listen to the Dhamma, then we know what is good for us, what is not good for us, then we can guide ourselves. And here the Buddha is saying that friends are very important because they can bring us to walk the spiritual path and practice the Noble Eightfold Path. And in the description of the Noble Eightfold Path, you notice that the Buddha always starts with right view. You must always get right view, and otherwise you have not entered upon the Noble Eightfold Path. A lot of people make the mistake of going into meditation first. Going into meditation without studying the suttas, without hearing the Dhamma. And then they are practicing the last path of the Noble Eightfold Path instead of the first path, the first factor. So you have to go in that order as stated in the suttas. And then the Buddha continued. By the following method too, Ananda, it may be understood how the entire holy life is good friendship, good companionship, good comradeship. By relying upon me as a good friend, Ananda, being subject to birth, are free from birth, being subject to aging, are free from aging, being subject to illness, are free from illness, being subject to death, are free from death, being subject to sorrow, lamentation, pain, displeasure and despair, are free from sorrow, lamentation, pain, displeasure and despair. By this method, Ananda, it may be understood how the entire holy life is good friendship, good companionship, good comradeship. Therefore, great King, if you train yourself thus, I will be one who has good friends, good companions, good comrades. It is in such a way that you should train yourself. When, great King, you have good friends, good companions, good comrades, you should dwell with one thing for support, diligence in wholesome states. When, great King, you are dwelling diligently with diligence for support, your retinue of harem women will think thus, the king dwells diligently with diligence for support. Come now, let us also dwell diligently with diligence for support. When, great king, you are dwelling diligently with diligence for support, your retinue of Katya vessels, that means the warrior clan, will think thus. Your troops will think thus. Your subjects in town and countryside will think thus. The king dwells diligently with diligence for support. Come now, let us also dwell diligently with diligence for support. When great king, you are dwelling diligently with diligence for support. You yourself will be guarded and protected. Your retinue of harem women will be protected, guarded and protected. Your treasury and storehouse will be guarded and protected. For one who desires lofty riches, following in succession, the wise praise diligence in doing deeds of merit. The wise person who is diligent secures both kinds of good, the good visible in this very life and the good of the future life. The steadfast one, by attaining the good, is called a person of wisdom. That's the end of the sutta. So you see just now, remember Ananda said half of the holy life has to do, that means half of the holy life, success in the holy life, half of it has to do with a good friend, a good teacher. But the Buddha said no, it's the whole of the holy life. That we depend on a good teacher, good person to guide us in the holy path. So in this case, the Buddha is our teacher, because the Buddha has explained the Dhamma so well. Nobody can explain the Dhamma better than the Buddha. So if we study the suttas, rely on the suttas, then we have the best teacher in the world. A lot of people don't understand. They keep looking for teachers. They go overseas, go here, go there. And a lot of the teachers are not really qualified to be teachers at all. But people, because they don't study the Dhamma, they don't understand. So the Buddha, in the end, says diligence is very important. Diligence is the way to success.